guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. This time it is going to be on X. Now, X is a new slasher film directed by Ty West. In this film, we follow a group of filmmakers who are going to a house next to a couple of creepy old people. And they're going to film a very adult-themed film, okay? This movie takes place in 1979. And these guys are trying to make a very pornographic movie where nobody is supposed to care about the plot. If somebody just came in for boobs or stuff like that, then that's why they're making this movie. But during their time filming there, these old people see what they're doing, and during the night, the old people start, getting very weird. Kind of reminds me of M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit, but way more graphic. And we have ourselves a dark slasher film filled with sex, blood, and basically what I expected. Now, I was really looking forward to this movie. If you're unfamiliar with Ty West, he is best known for horror. In fact, all of his life, he's been making horror films. Some very well-known ones are films like The Innkeepers and You're Next and House of the Devil. He also did ABCs of Death, which I never saw. And he helped with VHS 1, which I wasn't really a fan of. I preferred the sequel to that. I don't think he had any part of the sequel, though. But I enjoyed most of his movies. And this is easily his best film in years, okay? I had such a great time with this movie, okay? Now, when it comes to A24's horror movies, they get a very mixed audience reaction. Most critics love them, but when it comes to audiences, now, here's the thing. When it comes to audiences wanting original stuff in horror films, that's usually what A24 usually does with their horror films. You know, audiences usually complain about, oh, this movie isn't original or anything like that. Complaining about, oh, we're sick of all these spin-offs and remakes and all that. Why can't we get something original in horror? Basically, what I'm trying to say is a lot of people on the internet complain about we're getting too many, spin-offs or remakes or sequels to popular horror movie franchises, and horror is basically dead, and people want to see original ideas. And when A24 brings out those original ideas, people trash on them. Like, oh, this movie isn't scary, it's different. Like, some people just really can't make up their minds. Do they want the same old thing, or do they want something different? Like, there's a lot of people on the internet that really enjoyed Halloween Kills. And hell, there's even a lot of people on the internet that really enjoy the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And that's great and all, but it's kind of hypocritical to say that, you want something original and new and not a spinoff when most people are really enjoying the spinoffs, which, yeah, I have been enjoying as well. The new Halloween and the new Candyman, which the new Candyman does get crapped on a lot by a lot of fans saying, oh, it's not the same as the first movie. Yeah, I can understand where they're coming from, but I loved it because it wasn't trying to, remake everything that the first movie did. But yeah, I mean, people have their own opinions, okay? They can say what they want, but I'm just saying, like, these movies right here feel very original. The Witch, Hereditary, even It Comes at Night feel very fresh. Midsommar, what else? The Lighthouse, and so many of these movies. Green Room, they don't feel like regular horror movies. They feel like something completely different that horror is really lacking these days. And X definitely brings that to the table as well. Now, don't go into this film expecting a massive, gory roller coaster ride of people getting killed off. While people do get killed off, it's usually during the later act of the movie, okay? The first act is basically building up, like making their movie while trying to figure out they're not really, they don't care what the old people are doing because they're unaware of what the old people are up to. But it's basically building up suspense, which is something that I really wasn't expecting. I mean, critics were really praising this movie, like, almost every single aspect, and I could definitely see why, because this movie, it doesn't rely on gore that much. I mean, there's gore in it, but it doesn't, like, shove all this gore into your face, like films like Studio 666 or the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre film do. No, this one is taking it very slow. And that's another thing that A24 horror movies are known for, is that they can be very slow. And this one is slow as well, but it's the type of slow that I enjoy, okay? Like seeing all these characters, like, I mean, I didn't really care about them, but hey, they're not badly acted, okay? I mean, they actually do have some cool personality, like this one guy that kind of looks like Shaft. He was pretty cool to see. I mean, he doesn't have any like classic one-liners or anything like that, but hey, there are characters in this movie that you would expect to see from a horror film, okay? And during one scene, kind of reminds me of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But there's just so many things that Ty West just put into this movie, okay? And it's something that he doesn't really fully focus on that much. I mean, yeah, he does, but Your Next was pretty much like a slasher film. I mean, yeah, Your Next was a slasher film, but I felt like that one focused a lot more on brutal, bloody kills. But this one right here, it just really doesn't get to that till like the very last act, which obviously I'm not going to spoil, but the movie just has a lot going for it. Okay, I love how, in most horror films or most slasher films, it is just there to just, throw brutal kills into your face. But right here, this is a slasher film that is actually trying to keep the audience engaged. It's trying to build up suspense, and it does it with a phenomenal soundtrack that definitely does have that 1970s or 80s vibe, and it's in the late 70s, 1979, like I mentioned before. And even the end credits make it feel like it's from a 1970s or 80s movie. And it definitely does have that feel in it. And that's another thing that I love about these movies, these types of movies, is that they are basically love letters to old school horror films. And this one, I can say, definitely makes it. And it's very, well, I wouldn't say it's very creative. I mean, there's creative stuff in this movie that you wouldn't really expect. And that's another thing I love about these movies too. They are very unpredictable and anything could happen. Like I was just on the edge of my seat. While there were a couple of false jump scares which didn't ruin anything, okay? Because most of their films aren't really known for jump scares, but hey, they can be forgiven here. In terms of big main issues that I have with the movie, I don't really have. I guess the only one thing I can point out, and this is kind of a spoiler a little bit, it's during like the very opening scene. Like it starts off with the aftermath of what happens towards the end of the movie. But hey, I get it, okay? It's trying to. I mean, there are scenes in this movie that will have you thinking, okay? In the beginning, it does have you thinking, though you kind of know what you're going to expect. A lot of people are going to die in the movie, but there is one scene when it reaches out or just fades away that definitely had me like going like what's going on right here. And once it does get to close to the end of the film, then it does make a lot more sense. In the end, guys, X was fantastic, okay? It's not a completely over the top slasher film. It's a very slow moving film, but it's the type of slow burner that I love seeing in horror, okay? It builds up suspense, it focuses on suspense. The old people, the old married couple, they are very creepy, and I was all like, what is up with these guys? I mean, they don't have much of a backstory, but there is something that does go on. It's like there's a TV and a black and white TV, and sometimes when they're saying lines, or at least there's this one scene when they're saying a line, and the line is coming straight from the TV. Yeah, I shouldn't spoil anything because I highly recommend checking this film out, okay? It's surprisingly very well edited too. Like it's edited in a very unique way. It's very well shot, it's very well directed. Performances were really good, especially with the old guys or the old married couple in the movie. They were really good in the movie as well. It also has a really solid cast too, and it's definitely what I love seeing in modern horror films. Ty West has done it again, and so has A24. I had a really great time with this movie, and hopefully you guys will too. And one more thing before I give this movie my rating, I highly recommend staying after the credits, okay? Batman didn't have an end credits scene, but this one surprisingly does. I did stay after the end credits, and yeah, it was worth it. and just like this whole movie was worth it as well. I definitely recommend supporting this film. It's probably not going to get as much love as something like Jujutsu Kaisen the movie, which I will be seeing as well. Um, I know a lot of people are going to come to see that because hey, it's even though Jujutsu Kaisen is still very new. I mean, it came out in 2020. We're still getting a movie 2 years later. I'm really looking forward to that, and I also have a big surprise coming up this upcoming weekend. I'm not sure. I have multiple other videos to do. I'm probably going to do a part 2 of my Elden Ring review, and I will have another chat with Matt video up soon. That's actually the surprise. I'll show you it when I get to that video. But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.